World Combat Sports. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We have another ice drop today, and that ice drop of content and news media scrum will be notorious Conor McGregor. For those of you that's unaware or unfamiliar who he may be, he is an active UFC fighter. When I say active, I mean absolutely on the roster, but hasn't fought for quite some time. His most notable achievements was being the first two-division champion. He was able to basically obtain the featherweight title and the lightweight title. The shot heard around the world, the counter left hand, knocking Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds. And then moving up and facing lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez, in which he ended up finishing for an early night. A commendable set of accolades coupled up in a way that one would never think it would be the only calling card he needed to convince true fight fans that he can cross over to boxing and fight one of the best in this era, and that was in Floyd Mayweather. People actually believe Conor McGregor could cross over to a boxing ring and defeat Floyd Mayweather, one of the best defensive fighters in this era and counterpunches that you will ever see. Now, why am I talking about him all of a sudden and he doesn't have a bout coming up? Well, guess what? He finally faced the gavel for his punishment. Now, I'm going to read the article just a little bit, snippets here and there, about why was he scheduled and ordered to face a judge. What did Conor McGregor do? Okay, on quote from the New York Times, it says the mixed martial artist pleaded guilty on Thursday to a disorderly conduct and will perform 5 days of community service to resolve charges stemming from a backstage melee at the New York City arena in which he was caught on camera hurling a hand truck at a bus full of fighters. McGregor will also be evaluated for anger management program and barred from contact with fighters injured in the mayhem after a news conference for the UFC 223 event at Brooklyn's Barclays Center in April. There are no restrictions on McGregor's travel. If he stays out of trouble for a year, his record will be wiped clean. If he violates the term of the plea deal, he could be jailed for up to 15 days. Prosecutors said he already paid to fix the bus. Unquote. This is coming from Conor McGregor, the notorious one. I just want to say I'm thankful to the DA and the judge for allowing me to move forward, McGregor said outside of Brooklyn's courthouse. I want to say to my friends, my family, my fans, thank you for your support. The newspaper AP goes on to say, the 30-year-old Irish brawler who last month said he regretted his actions, then rushed to a waiting SUV with his entourage, separated by a bike rack barricades from dozens of photographers and reporters and a self-professed super fan. That fan screamed out, "You're a champ, Conor. You're a champ, Conor. They won't do anything to you, Conor. You're the champ." Well, he was partially right. He's earned the right to be called champ, but unfortunately both his titles has been extracted. Okay? Stripped, retrieved, depleted, because he failed to basically do what is required of a champion over there, and that is defend his belts. He was busy over there making close to $100 million, fighting one of the best fighters of this era, in Floyd Money Mayweather. I don't blame him. Do you? I don't. It goes on to say, McGregor, clad in a tight blue pinstripe suit, was joined in court by his 25-year-old friend, fellow fighter, Irish citizen, and co-defendant, Cian Cowley, who was sentenced to 3 days of community service and anger management. Prosecutors said the sentence will allow McGregor to reflect on his conduct and give back to society. The charges to which he and Cowley pleaded guilty of technically violating, not criminal offenses. Okay, they pleaded guilty to technically violating whatever that quote unquote legal terminology. The narratives are very much constructed to a point where it all boils down to how much money was on the table to to give you this type of input and how they word it. It also goes on to say McGregor, once the UFC's simultaneous 145 and 155 pound champion, hasn't fought since the fracas. The UFC stripped him of the 155 pound championship belt in April because he has not fought in 17 months. During that time, McGregor turned to boxing and secured a guaranteed $30 million purse, despite losing a highly anticipated bout last year to Floyd Mayweather Jr. Of course, the UFC was asked about this particular incident, and they declined to comment. Now, moving on, since he's now paid his money for the attorneys and everything, he pretty much got out scotch free, able to move on with his career with very minimal punishment, very minimal. Let's talk about the media on where he was seen and how important it meant to the UFC to have such a superstar like Conor McGregor out here in another country getting a star power treatment. They say McGregor attended the World Cup final in Moscow as a guest of Russian President Vladimir Putin and posed with him in a photo posted on Instagram. And caption, McGregor called Putin one of the greatest leaders of all time. The day before, on McGregor's 30th birthday, his girlfriend revealed on Instagram that she was pregnant with their second child. Hoorah. This was the time to caveat him visiting Russia and everything else that may possibly lead up to his potential bout with Khabib Nurmagomedov. It goes on to say, McGregor, widely known for his fight-related antics, was seen on camera attacking the bus in the Barclays Center loading dock after a press event ahead of UFC 223, which featured the sport's biggest card of the year. This is what Dana White had to say. And we had to get to Dana White. He's the president of the UFC, okay? Unquote. He said 20 hoodlums that flew in from Ireland crashed the event allegedly looking for retaliation against main event fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov, who had been in an altercation with McGregor's friend Artem Lubov. Video showed McGregor tossing trash cans and being blocked from throwing a barricade before he launched the hand truck. Fighters by the name of Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg was hurt by the shattered glass, forcing them from their bout. Nurmagomedov, the current 155-pound champion, was on the bus and said he had to be restrained to keep him from fighting McGregor. In an online chat with fans this week, Nurmagomedov said he'd be interested in taking that battle to the UFC octagon. President Dana White chimed in and said McGregor justified the confrontation in a text exchange just before he turned himself in to police, according to White. McGregor, he made it clear he had, listen people, he had to get it done. That means he had to show up for his friend, represent, and go through a juvenile type action and tossing a dolly. And luckily for him, his bank account was holding heavy and he was able to pay the attorney fees. That's pretty much the extent of it. That's pretty much the extent of what happened when you're the notorious Conor McGregor. You're a superstar. You get the star power in and out of court. You know what I'm saying? He received a very light sentence, which to I would say, in my opinion, that he should have received a bit more for his actions, because he could have ended the career of one of these fighters who was there to feed their family in a much anticipated bout. But he would rather pick up a unit, a solid object, and toss it at a window without having any inclination as to if that window was a cheap, fragile type of layer, and that dolly would have went through and split Michael Chiesa, who was closest to the window, split him open. It could have ended his career. You know, Conor McGregor, he could have been sitting somewhere in prison. You know, he could have been facing a healthy, I'm talking about a hefty legal battle. And from what my understanding, there are 2 civil suits going on between Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg. So stay tuned for that. You know, stay tuned for that part. The good thing is that he's faced the gavel. He was able to come up out of there with minimal punishment. And as long as he followed the conditions set therefore by the court, he would be fine. Just to caveat a little bit to this is that Conor McGregor, leading up to that incident, he had also had an incident over in Bellator where he pushed a referee. He jumped in a cage and he had an altercation with a referee. He was a live wire. You probably remember him, him and Nate Diaz doing the pressers, throwing balls back and forth. I mean, look at it this way. Conor McGregor is good for entertainment when it comes down to it. He's proven a lot to his worth. And when you bring money to an organization like the UFC, they're going to show you some love. Just unfortunate for Dana White, he kind of fed him too big a bottle. You know what I'm saying? It was too much milk. He fed him a bottle, and Conor McGregor just consumed all of it at once. He was spoiled. He was spoiled. And when you get a spoiled grown fighter like McGregor, he's going to take advantage of it. And he was calling the shots. And Dana said plenty of times in the media that if Conor McGregor wants something, Conor McGregor is going to get it. Unfortunately for Dana White, this is not the first time he's catered to certain fighters that is bringing revenue into the business and to the organization, such as the UFC. So, I mean, it's nothing new. It is absolutely nothing new. Except Dana White and his organization has the legal team and the structure to basically go out here and support Conor McGregor and get him out of that particular trouble so he can come back and have a huge fight. And what the rumor is that notorious Conor McGregor may possibly fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. That would be an awesome fight. He's the current lightweight champion. And that would be an absolutely phenomenal fight, seeing Conor McGregor jump back in there against one of the highly skilled strikers, Sambo practitioner, and Khabib. His last fight was against Al Alaquinta, where he was able to earn the vacant strap that was out there, and he did an awesome job. Very, very entertaining fighter, both of them. So that's the extent of that. I just had to go in there and quote the New York Times and kind of give you an update as to what's been actively green lighted in the media intersection today. And that was the punishment that was handed down to the notorious Conor McGregor, who is a UFC fighter, inactive since he basically won the titles, never defended either title, was able to talk himself into a fight with Floyd Mayweather, successfully went over to the boxing domain, the arena, a different pugilist discipline altogether, and fight one of the best in the game with an 0-0. Let me repeat, an 0-0 record against a fighter like Floyd Mayweather, who was 49-0 at the time. So there you go. Now that you've heard that snippet of the Conor McGregor show, hopefully he's back in the cage sometime soon. Dana White's able to get both fighters at the negotiation table, and they can come up with a plan. Believe me, this is not going to be any way, shape, or form a tough bout to sign on. It's going to get done. It's a lot of money out here to be made with these two fighters, and look forward to them stepping into the cage and face off. You know, people are curious to see if Conor McGregor can handle Khabib's takedown mechanics. He is one that can close the distance very, very fast, very quick dude. You know, but also I would give a striking in a sense to Conor McGregor. You know, he is a southpaw, and he does use that counter left hand very well. You know, Khabib can strike, but his strongest point to me is his takedowns and his ground and pound. He can be a savage. He can be brutal on the ground and pound. And I would like to see what Conor McGregor can what adjustments he can make if he is taken down by Khabib. How top heavy Khabib is really gonna display if Conor has to work off his back against someone like Khabib, who is known to just absolutely overwhelm his opponents with ground and pound. But hey, fight fans, we will see, won't we? All right. Hey, it's been a nice one. Once again, this is World Combat Sports. Be sure to follow me on all social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and smash that like button. I would absolutely appreciate it. And salute to all you fight fans out there. Continue to be fanatics and students of the discipline in any genre that you choose to. And we will talk again.